Hi Stamping friends, Melissa Kerman here with Melissa's Crafting Treehouse. Today I have a project for you that I did for the September Color Fusers blog hop. Our color challenge this month was Blueberry Bushel and Blackberry Bliss and Gray Granite. So here's my card. It's made with the beautiful Blizzard stamp set and the Blizzard thinlits. And here is a cutout of the Blizzard thinlits. It's just one full sheet and cuts out a whole bunch of these beautiful snowflakes. So I created two versions of this card, and the main difference is actually just the placement of the lace, which I'll show you in a bit. But now I'm just going to do my stamping, and for both versions it used the same size focal piece, this white piece of cardstock, and I just stamped my sentiment, which I absolutely adore. If a hug were a snowflake, I'd send you a blizzard. I just love that. So I am starting with my Blackberry Bliss ink, and I stamped it in full ink first, and only stamped it in full ink in one spot on the very right top of the sentiment. And then I went back in with second and third inking. And the sentiment was stamped in the Blueberry Bushel, by the way. So now I'm going to do the coloring of my lace. And this is my absolute favorite piece or element on this card. So I'm using my Blackberry Bliss Blends alcohol markers. They're brand new. They are available in the holiday catalog. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that right. And I'm using the light Blackberry Bliss blends to color the bottom portion of the lace. And I'm just ignoring the top section just because it's going to be covered by the cardstock. And then I'm going to come in with my dark Blackberry Bliss. I'm actually still working with the light one right now, and I'm using the paintbrush end, the big end of both of them. So now I've got the dark Blackberry Bliss, and I'm just ever so carefully coloring just the very tips, and I'm sort of going up to the point where there's the scallop and making just the edge nice and dark. So it ends up looking sort of like an ombre effect, and it just looks really beautiful. You'll see later in my card examples that I did one with the lace up against the the Blueberry Bushel, and another version with the lace up against the Gray Granite. And they both looked really pretty. I couldn't decide which one I liked, so I ended up making the two different versions. So now you can see my finished product. It actually looks really pretty with the vanilla at the top as well. So if you exposed the whole piece of lace, that would look also really super pretty. So the next thing I'm going to do is work on my snowflake, and I actually die cut a bunch of snowflakes from the Blizzard thinlits. As you saw before, it cuts out a whole bunch of snowflakes all at the same time. And when I was designing this, I realized I wanted a Blueberry Bushel colored snowflake instead for my design. So I took some of the ones that were plain white and vanilla, and I just simply turned them face down, so the pretty side was facing down, took a piece of scrap paper, and then just tapped over it, rubbed over it, so that it would color that whole piece of that whole snowflake and make it into the blue. And it made this nice negative negative space print. I thought that might be actually fun to play with too, just as a technique on a card. But there you go, there's my blue snowflake. I could have die cut it, but I had all those white ones around, so why not just color it myself? So there you go. So for the next step, I am adding a little shimmer and shine to my snowflake and my focal piece. So I've taken some rubbing alcohol and some of my white frost shimmer paint and mixing it up in a bottle, and then just spraying my focal piece and my snowflake. And voila, I have a nice little shimmer on those focal pieces and snowflakes. So all I pretty much have left to do is the assembly of the card, and I'm going to show you the assembly in just one of the versions. So I'm attaching my focal piece to my my Blueberry Bushel piece of cardstock, and then just putting glue dots in. Actually, I used 5 places, so I did it spread them out on the back side, and I'm doing that so that I can attach my lace to it, and just want it to be nice and straight. So just getting my positioning there. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my scissors and snip off the excess on either end of that Blueberry Bushel piece of cardstock. Now I'm attaching this piece with dimensionals and just doing that super fast on high speed. just so you get the idea. The next step I'm going to do is attach my snowflake, and I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue just ever so carefully on the back side, just using very small amounts so it doesn't get goopy and sticky and ooze out on the edges. And I'm just going to attach that flat on the front of the card. And then I'm going to come in with my paper piercing tool and do some, add some rhinestone jewels to a couple of select spots. One large one in the center of the big snowflake, and then a few others on some of the smaller stamped snowflakes. So here's my finished card, and here's a close-up so you can really see that lace against the gray granite cardstock. And here's my second version. And the white focal piece is exactly the same size on this version as the other. The blueberry bushel piece, however, is a little bit larger, and those dimensions are in my blog post if you would like to try to recreate this card. So here is actually a close-up so you can really appreciate what the ribbon looks like up against the blueberry bushel cardstock, and I'd love to know which version you prefer. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope you have a great day and happy crafting!